On Christmas morning 2002, Jack Whitaker woke up as a regular construction contractor from West Virginia. By midnight, he had won $315 million, the largest single-ticket Powerball jackpot in American history at the time. But years later, sitting alone, he said 5 words that no lottery winner has ever said before. "I wish I'd torn that ticket up." This is why. Jack Whitaker was 55 years old and lived in Putnam County, West Virginia, a quiet, rural corner of America where most people knew each other by name. He wasn't struggling. He was the president of Diversified Enterprises Construction, a sewage and water line contracting company he had built from nothing over more than a decade. His net worth before the win was already over $17 million. He had made it on his own terms. He had a wife of 42 years named Jewel, a daughter named Ginger, and a granddaughter named Brandy, a 15-year-old girl he called the center of his world. By every measure, Jack had already won. He was respected in his community. He went to church. He believed in hard work. He was the kind of man who, on Christmas Eve 2002, stopped at a supermarket in Hurricane, West Virginia, bought a quick-pick Powerball ticket almost as an afterthought, grabbed a breakfast sandwich, and drove home to spend the holiday with his family. That one ticket was about to destroy everything he had built. The Powerball draw happened on December 25, 2002. The winning numbers were 5, 14, 16, 29, 53, and Powerball 7. When Jack checked his ticket that night, something didn't feel real. He checked again and again. The numbers matched, all of them. He had just won $314.9 million, the largest single-ticket Powerball jackpot ever recorded in the United States up to that point. Jack chose the lump sum payout. After federal and state taxes, he walked away with $113,386,407 in cash. $113 million in one day. His first public statement was generous. He pledged 10% of his winnings to Christian charities. He stood in front of cameras looking stunned but grateful. He said he wanted to use the money to help people. The press loved him. West Virginia loved him. For a brief moment, Jack Whitaker looked like the feel-good story of the decade. But what nobody saw, what the cameras didn't catch, was the exact moment the money started pulling his life apart at the seams. Because it didn't take years. It didn't even take months. The unraveling began almost immediately. Jack's first moves looked like a dream. He set up the Jack Whitaker Foundation with $14 million, funding food and clothing programs for low-income families across rural West Virginia. He bought a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee and wrote a $44,000 check for the store manager at the supermarket, where he had bought the winning ticket. He also bought her a $123,000 house outright. No mortgage, no conditions, just a house. He expanded his contracting business. He bought luxury vehicles. He traveled. He gave money to strangers who wrote him letters. By early 2003, Jack Whitaker had become something of a folk hero, the working-class man who won big and gave back. But here's what was also happening behind the scenes. Word had spread. And when word spreads that a man in a small West Virginia county has $113 million in cash, the world does not leave that man alone. People showed up at his house. Strangers. Hundreds of them. Some with sob stories, some with business proposals, some with threats. His phone rang constantly. His mailbox overflowed with letters begging for money. He couldn't go to a restaurant without being recognized. He couldn't attend church without someone approaching him with their hand out. Jack started going to places where nobody asked questions. Casinos. He began drinking heavily, something that had never been a problem before the win. He later admitted that the money didn't just change his lifestyle, it changed who he was as a person, and not in the direction he had planned. But while Jack was trying to escape the pressure in all the wrong places, something far worse was already taking shape. Something that would cost him far more than money. Because while Jack was losing himself in casinos and late nights, the money had already found its way to the people closest to him. And for his granddaughter Brandy, that access would prove fatal. On August 5th, 2003, less than 8 months after winning, Jack left $545,000 in cash inside a briefcase in his car while he was at a strip club in Cross Lanes, West Virginia. The briefcase was stolen. Gone. Over $500,000 vanished from a parking lot. Then on January 25, 2004, it happened again. Another $200,000 stolen from his car. This time, police eventually recovered it. But the pattern was clear. Jack Whitaker was not the same man who had stood at that press conference pledging to help his community. And then came the moment that broke him completely. Brandy Bragg, Jack's 17-year-old granddaughter, the girl he called the center of his world, had been exposed to a lifestyle no teenager should ever see. The money had brought people around her who introduced her to substances that destroyed her from the inside. Her boyfriend, 18-year-old Jesse Tribble, was found dead of an overdose on September 16, 2004, inside Jack's own home. Brandy went missing on December 4, 2004. She was reported missing 5 days later. On December 20, 2004, her body was found wrapped in a sheet and a tarp, hidden behind a junked van on a property near Scott Depot, West Virginia. She was 17 years old. The autopsy found substances in her system. The cause of death was listed as undetermined. No charges were ever filed. Jack Whitaker buried his granddaughter on Christmas Eve, exactly 2 years after winning the lottery. Jack didn't recover. He couldn't. He told reporters that after Brandy died, he didn't care about anything anymore. He said, and these are his exact words, "I don't like Jack Whitaker. I don't like the person I've become." The legal problems piled on fast. In 2006, Caesars Atlantic City sued him for $1.5 million over 21 bounce checks he had written at their casino. He had been arrested for DUI in January 2003, just weeks after the win. And a second DUI arrest followed within the same year, violating the conditions of his first bond. His wife, Jewel, the woman who had been by his side for 42 years, filed for divorce. She later told reporters that she wished she had torn up the ticket herself, not because she was bitter, but because she had watched the money take her husband and replace him with someone she didn't recognize. Then, on July 5th, 2009, Jack's daughter, Ginger Whitaker Bragg, or Brandy's mother, was found dead in her home in Raleigh County, West Virginia. She was 42 years old. She had been battling Hodgkin's lymphoma for years. Jack had now outlived both his granddaughter and his daughter. He gave interviews where he sat quietly, staring at nothing, and said things like, "I'm only going to be remembered as the lunatic who won the lottery." He said the money had brought nothing but grief, that every person who had come into his life after the win had come for the wrong reasons, that the friends he thought he had made were gone the moment the cash slowed down. His reputation in the community, once that of a generous, respected man, had been replaced by tabloid headlines and court filings. But the story didn't end there, because even in his final years, Jack Whitaker could not escape what that Christmas morning had set in motion. And here's the part that most people never hear about Jack Whitaker, what he said in his very last interviews and what his final years actually looked like after losing everything that ever mattered to him. Jack Whitaker spent his final years largely alone. In 2016, his house burned down in a fire. He never rebuilt his life the way he had rebuilt it before the win. The man who had once been worth $17 million through decades of hard work had nothing left to show for the $113 million that had fallen into his hands on Christmas Day. He died on June 27, 2020, at the age of 72, of natural causes in Putnam County, the same county where he had lived his entire life, long before anyone knew his name. He never stopped saying he regretted winning, not once. In his last known interviews, he repeated the same thing he had been saying for nearly 2 decades. "I wish I'd torn that ticket up." Think about that. $113 million in cash, and the man who held it would have traded every dollar to have his granddaughter back, to have his daughter back, to have his wife back, to have his name back. The $315 million Powerball jackpot gave Jack Whitaker everything the world says you're supposed to want, and it took from him the only things that actually mattered. So the next time you buy a lottery ticket and dream about what you do with the money, remember Jack, because sometimes the worst thing that can happen to a person is getting exactly what they wished for. If this story hit different, wait until you hear about the lottery winner who gave away every single dollar on purpose, and why he says it was the best decision of his life. That story is next.